Welcome to episode 2 of the Grammatically Incorrect. Take it first.
Yes, we made it.
Let's try to always be honest. I'm one of your hosts, Steph Barlett. I'm here with my co-hosts, Jaimie and Will. And I believe producer Lindsay will and is somewhere in the...
I'm here. Hello. I'm not staying, but I came to hear what you all were planning, but I see you've just jumped into it, which is even better.
We can't help it.
And I guess to leave you with some words of wisdom before I have to sign off for the night, which is, I don't have any words of wisdom. This is all you. This is all the three of you. I'm just here hearing you all.
All I know is that it was a very sultry entrance, Lindsay.
I know.
A sultry entrance.
Hiding in the shadows, lurking.
It's what I do best.
Agreed. Okay. I just wanted to throw that out there as a segue, just to get things started. That was fun.
Godspeed.
What do we want to talk about tonight? We can cut this out, but do we have topics?
I've got something that I gotta kind of get off my chest right away, and that is, as a Boston Celtics fan, I just don't know what the future brings for this team. I don't know if it's a front office thing or a coaching thing, but this was a dramatically different team this year than it was last year. And I know Tatum went out and is injured, and that's a brutal injury. And I hopefully speedy recovery, but I would imagine we're going to be without him for most of the year next year as well. But I can't see them bringing Porzingis back. I can't see Drew Holiday coming back. And I love Drew. I really don't want to lose Drew, but I also can't see them trading White, or getting rid of, Pritchett. And, I don't know. We're at a loss here. That Knicks team is not good. I don't care what anybody says. They're not a good team, and we were a better team even without Tatum, and we just choked. We were awful. It was terrible.
Jaimie, are you trying to say that Jason Tatum isn't the player he's sort of like hyped up to be? Like maybe he's a little overhyped. What would you say to that?
I would say that Jason Tatum takes more crap than anybody else, because the dude does nothing but perform, and he I think people make a lot of that. Well, he's overhyped. He's not as good as he should be. There's a lot of that chatter, and all dude does is go out and he's a great dude. He goes out, he puts in work. He's fun to watch. He's a really, to me, he's a good, solid guy. So I think he takes a lot of crap for no reason. And my man's got a ring, and you just can't take that away. You won the chip, dude. So, all the haters that want to say, oh, well, they had an easy road to the finals, they still beat everybody in front of them and won the finals. So, I guess everybody should shut the hell up and just.
You're such a Boston sports fan, Jaimie. It's impressive.
Just enjoy 18 championships.
Are you going to retort any of this, or were you just letting him get his shit off? What are we doing? I'm so concerned. You're just going to let him say all of these things.
I was trying to set him up like a thing, but then it just got out of hand. Yeah.
That's much like every other Boston sports fan. We get out. That's what we do. So anyway, I know the NBA is looking forward to a Pacers OKC final. That should be great for ratings.
Dude, as someone who has been near teams who worked on March Madness and stuff like that, I can't remember what year it was, 3 or 4 years ago. Probably longer than that. Anyway, Duke and like Michigan State lost in like the elite.
Yeah.
Like, and there was like nobody in the Final Four, and all the executives were just pissed.
Checking to see if the windows were actually.
They were basically just like, shut it down. Like, forget it. Like, we're not even going to bother producing the Final Four games. Like, who cares? Like, the ratings are getting trash. Like, forget it.
Yeah, it's not. I'm sure they're not really thrilled about it. I like that Pacers team. I think the Pacers squad is good, and OKC too. I mean, they've got A couple of really young dudes that, I think could be a lot of fun to watch. But that's going to be the hardcore people. The Steph's going to watch it, and that's about it.
Oh, I will be watching.
Oh,
I love
really?
Yeah, I love this. Yeah.
Couple things.
The three of us. That's
Probably. It will likely just be the three of us. Let's loop around and do a few things here. Jason Tatum shows up and is available. And that is more than I can say for my superstars. Overwhelmingly. And I want to say that first and foremost and put that in writing. Like, he shows up and he was at those games and he played in a too long season.
Yeah.
Did I enjoy the way that Jason Tatum plays? That's hard to watch. His decision making, along with Jaylen Brown's decision making, look like drunk babies 85% of the time.
Oh, yeah.
And that's fine if you're a drunk baby.
Right.
But like, that's what the decision making sometimes feels like from the two of them consolidated. And that is not all his fault, because his number two does very strange things with the ball. But so does Steph Curry, who never held on to the ball. Is supposed to be the greatest shooter of all time. We're all supposed to look past that. With like 800 turnovers a game. So it's fine. So I'll give Jason Tatum that. He's there. It feels hard to watch him. Porzingis, as a Wizards and Washington, D.C. resident, I was elated when he left. I was like, right, yeah, he got us to some 40 wins. You think that's real? Good.
Right.
It was one of the greatest moments in Eastern Conference history when the Celtics took Porzingis away. Because I was like, start over. It would be better. And when I said start over, I didn't mean Kyle Kuzma. And so that was when we got off track. And we got off track. And we are off track, and that's fine. But like, I think your biggest problem is Porzingis, and there's no solution for that salary for who he is. And that's really sad. And that team is so expensive. And the ownership group, which is the other thing. Like, that whole change on that side, I don't even want to shit on Boston fans, because I don't know what's going to happen to you all. Like, the new owners of the Dallas Mavericks, they made very strange decisions this year in year 2 of their ownership. And that's what I'm looking at with the Boston Celtics ownership group. I'm like, I don't know if they look at Jaylen and Jason in the same way that we all looked at Luka in Dallas. I don't think they did. I don't know. Who knows what they look at those two people like, because they're very expensive. But like...
Here's a question for you, Steph. And this is, it's going to sound a whole lot like get off my lawn, kind of old guy talk.
I love where this is going.
I feel like today's NBA kind of breeds that decision making with Jaylen Brown that you're seeing with Jaylen Brown and Steph Curry and Jason Tatum. Because I watch dudes come down and put up a three, and there's no one under the rim. There's not a green shirt to clean a board anywhere to be found. At least wait a second till your big gets in the paint, and maybe you can get a rebound. So that to me seems like it's symptomatic of what the NBA might be. And also, it's got to be coaching.
Yeah.
It's got to be coaching. You just can't have that.
I think that's what the Pacers thing is. Where I'm like, oh, they weren't mind being coached by Rick Carlisle this year. Yeah. That's what I literally think about the Pacers in full run. Okay, well, what?
No, I was going to say, like, the coaching, I'm going to one-up you on the coaching too, Jaimie, that I will hit you with one of my general problems with Jason Tatum, aside from that hideous green that the Celtics wear.
Watch yourself.
Is that, and like an example that came up just this week, he doesn't give me that hype leader vibe. Like, he's supposed to be the face of the team, but he's almost a little too calm and reserved for me. And what really actually coalesced this for me was watching Shaq talk about the show. What is the show's name? I'm blanking on the name. Inside the NBA being picked up officially by ESPN. And Shaq was like, listen to me, doesn't matter who you are, like, we're coming out there, we're coming in here, we're gonna kill everybody, this is gonna be the most, and like Kenny is like, I'm gonna play for this guy, we're gonna go out there, we're gonna kill. I mean, these are 4 old ass dudes, and I'm about ready to run through a wall listening to Shaq talk about the production of a television show. Like, Jason Tatum never quite gives me that you see in a lot of other places. So is that potentially one of the kind of things that comes apart sometimes with the Celtics, is like they don't have that like piercing, angry, go out there fight leader that leads to some of this kind of out there decision making?
And you get ready. I want you to watch that square up above you, Will. Ready for this? Neither does LeBron. LeBron does not have that killer instinct. LeBron is not that guy.
I got a pin, Steph. Hang on.
LeBron is too generous with the ball. Look at you had to
Camera's off. Camera's off.
So,
but I think the difference though is I can see
Jimmy Butler
LeBron
has that. Jimmy Butler has that killer, right? Jimmy Butler to me is that emotional. He's gonna have that emotional flair. But to me, look,
yeah, I feel like I could see LeBron
face. You
Man,
said
we're back in the locker room.
I love you, Bron, but you're just not a killer. You're just
I could
not a killer.
see LeBron getting in somebody's face and just being like, dude, get it together. Like, it's time for us to fight. It's time for us to do. And I just feel like I would see Jason Tatum be like, hey guys, like, we just need to play a little harder out there in the fourth quarter.
I don't deny it about Jason Tatum. I would argue that
it's like, it's almost a little too calculated.
Oh, he's very calm. He's very chill. He's not that guy. He's just not that guy. I don't know that Jaylen Brown is either.
So maybe that's what the Celtics are missing. Why am I trying to help the Celtics?
I know. But calculated is not Jason Tatum. LeBron is calculated. LeBron is calculated. He's the most calculated human being on the planet. But my glorious king would be, and he is 3.5 more championships than Jason Tatum. But
I do remember the day that my knowledge of basketball increased tenfold by watching someone explain LeBron's basketball knowledge. It was like watching the tape through the course of a game, and I was like, wow, I know nothing about basketball, and this dude is incredible.
He is he doesn't have the killer instinct, but he had to survive his life, and he wanted to be not an only child to a single mother. He wanted brothers. And so he has made his career about brotherhood and camaraderie and hoping to be the positive side of what was the most evil person on the planet, Michael Jeffrey Jordan, who ever lived. He is the light. He is the light side of the devil. And so while I will always wear the devil's shoes, because what are you going to do? The devil makes a great shoe. LeBron, you're right. He's not a killer. He's not a killer. He's not a killer like John Morant. He's not a killer even like Scottie Pippen. He's not a killer in a way that you would really want him to be. But also, Michael Jeffrey Jordan had a gambling issue, and he is the reason that the Republican Party rose over the last decade. I don't know how, but his comment on all Republicans buy Jordan's too will always be a reason that.
Okay, so this is apparently an NBA podcast now, and we're going to do a year-long series on Michael Jordan because I just want to hear all this.
Sorry. It doesn't, I don't even know how we spent this long on the NBA. We shouldn't. You know what? Shout out to Tyrese Halliburton.
Oh, yeah.
Actually is.
Yeah,
He did a very good job and was rated the most overrated player.
Overrated, yeah.
Overrated player of this season.
Yep.
a new poll that had never existed before. I think it came out just for him. I don't know if it existed in previous seasons, but he got rated that. And I think it was a great comeback for him. He did the Steph, though, which is assuming that everyone recognized you as being the best, even if you had an up-down performance. Did you see him try to walk out and accept the MVP for Eastern Conference Finals MVP? So they announced, Will, you have to see this video. We have to put this up. Like, they're about to announce it. And it's definitely Pascal. Like, he was consistent. He saved him every single game.
Yeah.
And yet Tyrese did this. Like, he moved a guy back just so he could get towards the front. And they were like, let's go.
That's amazing.
I'm related to this kid.
Oh my God.
Oh, that's amazing.
I related. Okay, subjects other than basketball.
Are we going to talk about crisisChrisley?
Yeah, you're gonna have to drop some knowledge on me with crisisChrisley because I just saw a couple of memes.
Chrisley.
Oh, it's Todd.
Todd Chrisley. Sorry. Wait, who is crisisChrisley? Did I just make that name up?
Christie was a New Jersey governor.
Yes.
Todd Chrisley.
He's a
USA reality star.
I really do have an aging brain. Look at me. What a proud moment. And it's marked in audio history. Great. This will make my mother-in-law feel really great.
Making great decisions.
Yeah.
So Todd Chrisley and his wife, I don't remember. Todd and Julie Chrisley, forgive me. They got accused of and convicted of defrauding the government of, I believe, 17 million. Maybe it was 30 million, but like they owed 17 still, something in that range, millions and millions. And they've been in jail.
Hasn't pardoned that yet?
Yeah. So what's interesting, Todd and Julie Chrisley were pardoned. And I will say very rightfully, one of my most liked comments on my private YouTube is me telling Savannah Chrisley, his daughter, you should really keep live streaming because Trump will probably pardon you if you just do this enough. And every other week for like a year and a half, I would get like, you got 5 more likes on that comment. And I was like, man, that really hit the zeitgeist with people. Like, Savannah could probably get this done if she raises his profile on the internet. And sure enough, that is what happened. So I didn't free Todd Chrisley, but
maybe possible.
But
do I say things that I feel like end up being true? A lot of times.
Finger on the pulse.
Okay. So second point of this pardon, they were not the only people pardoned. There was another person pardoned. I think he goes by NBA Youngboy. He's a rapper. I think NBA stands for Never Broke Again, not National Basketball Association. You can believe that. I know, right? That's what I said. I was like, me too. If I'd known that that's what NBA could stand for, I was like, I would have been NBA Steph when I was 5 years old. Right. Come on, right? So he has been on house arrest in Utah for about 2.5 years and signed to a major record label and rapping and putting out albums and songs on YouTube and on streaming services. And he got 2 additional felonies while he was on house arrest in Utah. Jaimie, that's the face.
Yeah.
Oops. So Trump pardoned him too. And I was like, so Hollywood and the music industry, entertainment came for their pardons and they got, I don't even know who the third person is, but I was like, if you get Todd Chrisley and NBA Youngboy out and Julie Chrisley, that is a pretty consistent list.
So gross.
So did you see Todd Chrisley's press conference.
I saw him call somebody out for like CBS. Like, don't you work for CBS? Now all of a sudden he's Trump.
I didn't see this.
Yeah, there was a
I
meme
did
of him
see.
calling somebody out for, don't you work for CBS? I think he may have even said like fake news. I was like, what's happening right now? That's the only thing I know about this whole thing, because let's be honest, I'm not paying attention to the Chrisleys. You could have said crisisChrisley, and I would be like, yeah, that sounds right.
Of course, yeah.
No, you two were
sounds
going.
right.
There's tape, guys. You two were going down the road of crisisChrisley, and that was going to be fine for both of you.
Yeah,
No,
100%. 100% fine.
Interesting, you know little about him because he is a man who lives in the same state as you.
Yeah.
So
In
it's
Georgia?
interesting.
Yeah. Oh, he's ATL, man.
What?
Well, I mean, I say ATL generously. I think he's like Marietta or something like that.
Yeah, right. No, not ATL, but I just think that is
That might as well be ATL.
he is a huge deal to a very small swath of people, but he hit my reality show realm because if your father or cousins flip through for wrestling and you happen to stop on USA over the years, you were going to hit the Chrisleys at some point. You're like, oh, okay. Yeah. Well, after wrestling, there's the Chrisleys or before. And so they hit this cross section of human that I'm like, coastal elites have no idea what's happening at all with the Chrisleys. And it's really interesting to watch because I'm like, everyone who's poor is like, good job. Everyone is like, great. My favorite reality show with like the Southern drawl and probably some of the worst Southern like caricature things. Yeah, that's on there too. So I get that. You watch a live TV. Like sometimes you're sitting in Washington, D.C. smoking a bowl while watching someone in South Carolina get arrested for having a bowl on live PD, and you don't know what to make of it. You just sit down and you're like, okay, I won't smoke this because now you're sitting in jail for it. It puts you in a quandary. That's what the Chrisleys did to everyone, and I think that's why I will be watching on Lifetime when their new show comes out.
So we for a while were watching a lot of Bravo. Katie and I would sit down and watch a lot of Bravo.
What'd you watch? Be more specific. Below Deck.
We watched Roni. We watched some Below Deck. We watched Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. We watched Atlanta. We watched all of it.
And it shows the strength of your marriage, frankly.
Yeah. It got to the point where the negativity started to outweigh the entertainment value, right?
Mm-hmm.
It was, and it just became, I think it was New Jersey was the last one after the Judices went to jail. We were like, I was like, I can't do this anymore, man. It's just, we go to bed and all we have is this negative energy. And it's the Judices, and you got people yelling and screaming at each other for I don't know what's going on with Candy anymore. And it's crazy. It got to the point where it was like, I just can't, baby. I can't do it anymore. So the only reality TV that I really partake of is Survivor. That's it. That's
nothing else now?
I have to kind of.
But you went deep for a little while.
So it's still more than me.
Yeah.
So deep.
You went
Below Deck Mediterranean, that could suck me in pretty easily.
Yeah, I get it.
It could definitely suck me in. You know, we were big fans of that one too for a long, long time.
Below Deck, brilliant.
Oh yeah, Below Deck is fantastic. To the point where my eldest daughter was like, "I need to make some money," and I was like, "Baby, just go down to Miami, try to get on one of these boats.
Do it." Yes.
She's like, yeah, I could do that. And then she's like, no, I don't want to do that.
She watched like 3 episodes and was like,
well, she wanted to be a deckhand. She wanted to learn how to.
That's
fun. Not where you go to learn.
No, absolutely not. Although some of the people on that show didn't have a clue. They were on those boats and they did not know what they were doing. So I don't feel too bad.
That's facts.
Did you see did you watch a lot of them?
Below
Steph?
Deck?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
The one where
Yeah, I
Austin,
watched.
what was his name? Ashton, the
Yeah.
Zimbabwe dude, where he almost died.
Yes.
I was like, oh God damn, that guy's dead. He's dead. Dead.
What did he almost die from?
He did die. He
Yeah.
died.
So he was standing in the back of the boat, and the boat's moving, and they're towing something out back. It was like another small dinghy or something like that.
Yeah.
And his leg got wrapped around the tow line as it was going out. And so he went out with the boat, and the yacht is moving at speed. And so he's underwater. As the boat is moved, it's dragging his ass underwater. I mean, it was like, oh, that's it. I just watched a snuff film. I just watched.
So say he was, okay. So I was not a thoughtful person when I'm watching Below Deck in the comfort of my home, and that is my right as a private citizen.
Absolutely.
But I would always call him James Franco because I was like, his name's like, it was close. It was like Franco. It was like Joey. So I would call him James Franco, and like for a week, people were like, James Franco almost died. And I was like, no, on Below Deck, the Zimbabwe guy, the guy. People did not know for a while. But yeah, no, that was real.
No, it was terrifying.
Well, that was a couple years ago. Yeah, you've been out for a while. Yeah, you've been out for a while.
Yeah, he's got a big Instagram presence. He was doing
I know. I'm a part of it.
Yeah. He was doing like sign up with Ashton to do the fitness thing, and because he was jacked.
Yes. Yeah.
As everybody apparently from Zimbabwe is.
Yes, right. Well,
I don't know.
Except for some dancers that Beyonce found in the early 2013s. I was like, they weren't, but they could dance, so they didn't have to be jacked.
You got to pass.
Sorry. I mentioned her too soon in the pod.
Beyonce?
No.
Yeah.
Is there such
I'm still just so confused. I think the last reality TV I really engaged in was Top Chef, like season 3.
Oh, okay. So wait. Hold on. It's
been a solid decade since I've watched.
If we're considering Top Chef reality. If Top Chef is reality, then I watch Top Chef too.
Like, season 3?
No, but that's just to make my point.
Yeah.
Of how long it's been and the level of reality TV, wink, quotation marks that I watched.
There in season.
She had just started.
She started in season 2.
I had like 2 seasons of Padma, and I was like,
how
like,
every man on the planet knows when Padma started.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
Like, no. It was a Thursday, and it was lovely.
Yeah, it was snowing.
So season one was Katie, what's her name? That was Billy Joel's wife.
Yes.
That was her in season 1. And then,
I'm thinking of
I don't even remember pre-Padma.
Yeah, and then Padma came in season 2, and that was all she wrote until last season was Kristen Lish's first season hosting. She won Top Chef a few seasons ago, and she's amazing. She's an amazing chef, but she's hosting along with Tom and Gail. So,
oh wow, is it? Is Padma missed?
I miss Padma, but Padma had her own. She had her own sass, and Champagne Padma would come out, and it would be, she'd be all kinds of sassy and angry. And I love Kristen, but Kristen will cry at the drop of a hat. She gets super emotional when she has to cut people. She's like, "I'm really proud of you, and thank you for
Judge."
Yeah, she's like, "Theo, please pack your knives and go." And I love it. I get all emotional and teary eyed too. My wife is like, "All right, you're crying. We get it. We know you're crying." Okay.
Not the spirit of Top Chef. And Will, you said you just the last thing you just watched of reality TV was 15 years ago.
Probably.
Like Top Chef.
Yeah. I got no clue what's going on in reality TV. I get enough reality just around. I can't handle it. I don't know. Actually, I think I watched a fair amount of I had a real Gordon Ramsay period where I did a fair amount of restaurant. Was it Restaurant Rescue or whatever his thing?
Yes, it was.
I just really enjoyed him yelling at people.
It wasn't Kitchen Confidential. It was Kitchen
Something like that.
Nightmare or something
Kitchen
like that.
Nightmares. Yeah, I just really enjoyed him just really laying into people.
Yeah.
And then I started therapy.
Yeah. And if you watch him with kids, it's hysterical because he's like, hey, there's no reason to cry. This is wonderful. Thank you for trying. I really appreciate you sharing your food with me. And then the other dude is like, with the adults, he's like, you are as stupid as a shit sandwich,
So I have a theory on that it's not my own. I give it to credit to smarter women around me. The theory is that the kids literally try harder and the food actually tastes better than whatever those adults are doing. And I have watched enough Top Chef or the both shows to be like, oh, those kids are killing it. Like they have flavor profiles that I know that those chefs were completely missing. And those were horrible business people. I'm just saying, I think he is giving those people the right energy in each instance.
I
It's
agree.
just no one wants to admit it. I'm like, those kids,
That's what I'm saying.
damn it, and they washed their hands, which was more than he was seeing on Kitchen Nightmares. I really went deep on Kitchen Nightmares because I had to be in the UK, and so I was like looking for people that I could connect to.
When were you in the UK?
For work, I was working for a company that was like their product team, which I was in, and my boss, and then all of my colleagues were in Shoreditch, East London.
Okay.
And so I worked for basically a British-based company for like 7 years. And
you lived in London for 7 years?
it wasn't living full time, but once or twice a quarter, I was there for weeks at a time for about 7 years. Yeah. And then I went working for one of their sister companies, and I was in Birmingham, so Jewelry Quarter.
Yeah.
All they had dominoes.
How'd you find London or England overall?
I would live. It's where I would go. I would go and live in East London. Yeah, I loved it. I thought it was great. I thought weather-wise, it could really work for me.
Okay.
I thought the energy was hipster enough to make me feel like I was in DC. The issue is I didn't understand their media.
Okay.
So like the number of times that I asked, how does the BBC work? So you guys all pay this. Wait a minute. So you all pay and wait. And this is when British Bake Offs was like evolving.
All right, that's another one that I watched.
Yeah, Mary Berry was like, I fuck with ITV or whatever, and like was like, I'm bouncing. I was like there during that, and I was like, why is this happening in the And they were like, because we never dealt with it. We didn't have cable. Like that's not what was happening. So yeah, it was an interesting time. I would live there again. I've not been there though since before the pandemic, and so I don't know. I don't say that now. So that was like 2019, the last time I was there. But it's great.
Very cool. I would love to. I mean, I haven't gone to Europe yet. I'm dying to get over.
You've gone if it wasn't for work.
Oh yeah, well,
not too bad.
one of the books that I just finished was a book that was based on the Amalfi Coast in Italy, and so now I'm jonesing to go to Italy for obvious reasons. But for every
Amalfi Coast especially, it's like
everybody that's lived in Italy says, "Oh, you don't want to live in Italy. You do not want to live in Italy. Great place to visit. It's sketchy as hell to live there."
I feel like that's like when Atlanta people are like, we're full. I feel like they're just punking you.
I don't know.
They're just like, no. You don't want to live here.
Don't the Italians overthrow the government once every 3 or 4 years?
Oh shit.
I mean, I can't throw stones about that.
Well, I mean, we're begging for it now, but we're begging for it now, but it's I don't want to say it's coming, but we're rewriting the Constitution as we speak, ladies and gentlemen.
I suggest everyone watch the music video Family Feud by Jay-Z featuring Beyonce. It's from 7 years ago, and it tells the story of what he thinks is supposed to happen in America between now and like 40, 55.
Oh,
Didn't go
no.
see Sinners. Lilo and Stitch. Watch the Family Feud music video, but
I think we also need like a little bee to pop up on our screen every time you say Beyonce. Every time she comes up, we need a little bee just to pop up.
they were up to 3.
Yeah, it's the new drinking game for SJW.
I worry for people's kidneys and livers, but that's none of my business. But I do encourage people to look at futuristic films right now because everything's spot on. It's been really scary, actually, watching a couple things.
I won't watch. What's the movie? Civil War, the one that just came out.
You won't watch that one?
I can't. It'll give me nightmares, dude. I won't sleep. I'll be up on a clock tower with a high powered rifle and a Barrett 50 cal. I just can't. I can't do it. It's too much.
At least you know your limits.
Yeah, it's just there's no way. There's no way. So there's stuff like that. The apocalyptic stuff I can kind of go with, but some of the stuff that really hits home and we're really close to, vaguely prophetic, it's tough for me to watch. That's a hard thing. It's not good for my mental health.
I will hold firm to this. And I know we've talked about this not on the podcast, but I think the most prophetic movie you can watch right now about what's about to happen with the United States of America is the documentary on Woodstock 99.
Oh, it's so good. It's so good.
Tell me more. Why?
Oh,
it's just this, like, I lived through it. I didn't go, but it was funny watching it to see the people who were like between ages of 14 and 17 when they went. So I was like, those could have been my classmates. Like, that's who I was in high school with at the time of Woodstock 99. And it was just this people trying to make festivals great again. They wanted to have this like throwback to Woodstock where it was like peace and love. And it's funny because I won't name who it was, but an older family member of ours told both me and Paige one time to watch out for people who were like hippies in the 60s and 70s, because those are MAGA people now who were like, they were the far out, like, I would need my freedom. They're the people who are like, yes, Robert F. Kennedy is so smart. Yes, exactly. That's exactly what I've been talking about all these years. That's the people, those hippies grew up to be super crazy, like MAGA, don't give me vaccines type people. Anyway, so those people were like, we got to do these music festivals, didn't really know what they were doing. Got into bed with these hyper capitalist music bros of the 90s, the people who brought us the mega boy groups, all of this hyper focus group driven music, and they created the Woodstock Music Festival. So it was easy to market, had all this nostalgia, all these things. They brought these people there, and it was just this prison in a way. You couldn't bring your own food. You couldn't even bring water. So it was hyper capitalism. I mean, really not capitalism. It was a monopoly at this point, right? Or an oligarchy, if you will.
Yep.
So everything was controlled. Everything cost a gajillion dollars. No one could afford anything. There was no sanitation. Nothing was being cleaned up. Like, everyone had to kind of fight for themselves. Everyone had to pull themselves up by their own bootstraps. There were no community services, nothing like that. There was no health, nothing. So people were getting sick. People were getting hospitalized, all this stuff. Meanwhile, it's this culture of hyper masculinity. Then the organizers basically never said, they were like, yeah, I don't think anyone ever got raped. Or if they did say someone got raped, they were like, hey, if there's a city of 300,000 people, like, someone's bound to get raped. Like, that's an excuse. Like, that makes it okay.
So wait a minute, hold on.
Someone to get raped and for crime to happen just because it's like there were so many people there.
You got to back up.
Yeah.
So originally Woodstock was in a big field
Yeah.
dude's farm. This Woodstock took place on a closed military base with fences and lots of concrete, right? So it was super, super hot in the middle of the summer. They load all these teenagers in, and then they hit them with these high prices. They starve them, and then they hit them with Limp Biscuit and corn and all these ultra angry white frat boy music that I listened to hardcore because I wanted to go out and run into the street and punch somebody in the face. And then after all that, they turned them loose into the hangars where they had raves, and
all day long,
and the lights went out, and that's where all these rapes happened. And they were just like, yeah, I mean, whatever. Yeah.
So there's just all this destruction, all this craziness, and it was just kind of lawless. And then the organizers were just unapologetic, uncaring. I mean, maybe they don't sleep super great at night now, but they certainly didn't come off that way in the interviews. And I mean, of course they're not. Of course they're not going to say, my bad, oops, sorry all these people got hurt, sorry all these terrible things happened. But it just seems so tempered in our current society. Like there's so many parallels of how the United States is operating and functioning, even to the point of where Gen Z is super nostalgic for the 90s because it was, I guess, apparently a magical time. I don't know. It was all right. Like, I don't know. Jaimie could probably tell us better, but like, it was cool. Like, I enjoyed it, but
favorite music period for sure.
Food's better now. That's for sure. But yeah, so it feels like this crazy prophecy wrapped up in a music festival. And I guess there's going to be a big fire at some point in the main sound tower, whatever that representation is in America, that will be torn apart by people.
I hope it's not the Lincoln Monument because I'm live too close to it, but it feels kind of on the nose. Yeah.
I definitely recommend watching it. If you haven't seen that one and the Fire Festival one are two of my favorite. You got what you deserve documentaries. they're pretty solid. But
the Woodstock 99 documentaries do a best job with the press conferences. That's what I learned from it. Was like, during Woodstock 99, I had no understanding of how they were communicating, but then like the 3 or 4 press conferences that they show before, in the middle, and then like after, I was shook. Like that was my takeaway from Woodstock 99 and like watching the doc was how they managed to not go to jail because they just kept showing up to their own press conferences and not answering questions. And to that point, that was the difference with the Fire Festival. Like, that's all he had to do was set some press conferences up and make sure the journalists were fine wherever they were, and then like feed them, and he would have been fine. But I mean, he is fine still. I think they're doing Fire Festival
Next time.
Ja Rule won't be there though that time.
What was that? Was that Master P? Was that who the main?
Ja Rule.
It was Ja Rule.
Ja Rule.
He was one of the dudes that was on board early on that one too.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yes.
That's right.
I think he recently got off of that. Okay, Woodstock 99. Corollary for what's happening right now, probably. A little bit.
Probably blend that with a little George Orwell.
Yeah, exactly.
Huxley, like put it in a little pot. That's where we are.
And ChrisisChrisley.
And
ChrisisChrisley.
Chris, aka Todd Chrisley.
Well, what's grating on you, or what's not grating on you? What are you enjoying? What's aside from your incredible haircut?
I think what is grating on me, and I almost hate to bring it up because I feel like it's all I talk about right now, is the housing market. I don't quite know how to process what's going on, and we are actively in the process of trying to sell our house just because, we know we don't want to be here long term. We do love this house. We love the area, but we want a yard and all those, millennial things for our dogs. And the housing market is just making me feel very nervous about everything. we had a conversation with our real estate agent this week. And, housing market's different from city to city, all that stuff. But he made the point that, one, it's been the weirdest time since January, which is when we really kind of started this whole process of looking for houses and getting our house prepped to get on the market. It's only been on the market this weekend. It's our first weekend on. And he made the point about Atlanta in general, and that nothing under $500,000 is selling or moving at all, and nothing over 1.5 million is selling or moving at all. And we are in between that, both in what we're selling and what we're looking for. But his gist was those houses that are on the lower end, they're typically bought up by developers or flippers, turned around really quickly. They're really not starter homes anymore because most of them are just falling over in the areas where we're looking and where he's an expert. And then everything that's 1.5 is just rich people aren't doing anything. The people who can take out those loans, the people who would normally take out those loans, they're just sitting. No one is doing anything. And our real estate agent is just saying that it's one of the weirdest markets he's ever seen. Like, it's just really strange because the stuff that's in the middle is hyper competitive.
Right.
It goes super fast if it's well priced, if it's well maintained, if it's a good property. So it's very strange time to be alive. And also just the general, we've done this 2 or 3 times now, and it's just a reminder of how stressful and all consuming this process can be. It just sucks up so much of your time. So that's what's generally grating on me. And really what cooked it, the whole, like, my nervousness about the economy, is I was randomly on Reddit and I got served a thread that the strippers are worried. It was like a strippers Reddit where they're all together.
Wait.
And
I'm already, yeah.
And it was like, it may have just been like the strippers Reddit. I don't know. And they were just like, yo, was it quiet this weekend? And they were like, yeah, bruh, it was real quiet this weekend. And they were like, well, sometimes it's like end of the month, like people paying rent, it's cool. It's cool. But then there were a ton of other people who were like, yeah, nah, bruh, like, it's not just this weekend.
Yeah, not in May and June.
Like, it's
not
for real.
It's hot.
Yeah, they were the basic gist was like, in this economy, and that was it.
So I gotta ask what your algorithm is looking like that you're just randomly getting stripper Reddits.
Man, I like that. I like that fun. I like that.
It's not random on Reddit. That is not an algorithm. You follow what you follow.
I don't have a Reddit account. I don't have a Reddit account. I just randomly pop into Reddit.
I see.
Look at these lies he tells to get up.
No, I'm not kidding you. I do. Yeah. I literally do not have a Reddit account. No Reddit account.
Me neither. I'm not.
I just cruise all on like a private tab. So because I just hate when Reddit results come up when I start typing stuff.
That's amazing. Okay, what's your second question, Jaimie? That was a good one.
My second question is that an Atlanta phenomenon or is that nationwide, the housing market?
I have a follow-up question to that.
I'm not a realtor. I'm not in real estate formally.
You're not?
So I do have an education in real estate development, but Atlanta is a big metro market. So I would assume most other similar market, so this is like New York's not going to look the same. DC is not going to look the same. LA will have a lot of similar features. Chicago, a lot of similar features. Seattle.
Why do you think Atlanta won't look the same as DC? Because that's what I was going to ask you. And are there not a lot of impacts as a result of Doge that Atlanta or Georgia is feeling?
Yeah. So
I know there are because of the DC and Georgia connection. I know that there are. I'd see a lot of similarities between Georgia and DC.
I guess, Georgia and DC, yeah. Because, so many like CDC people, or like the guy who does my hair, he's like, yeah, all my CDC clients are like, they're still getting their haircut, but they're not doing colors anymore. They're not doing any, because like a lot of them just, if they haven't been laid off, they think they're going to be laid off. So yeah, there's a lot of that.
Yeah. That's why I was like, I think there's probably more similarity between DC and Atlanta was my first recognition. And my second thought was, I bet, I wonder if more houses are going on sale as a result in Atlanta. And I know that's what we're experiencing in DC. It's like, I think I was told by a realtor, like 47% surge. And that's like,
Really?
yeah,
So we're having
houses on the market. The increases are like really going up. But that is because I think people have been offered retirement packages or full on you got to leave packages, and they're selling their house, which is the equity that they have, which is what a lot of government employees have worked to over the last 30 years, is the equity that they have in their house in DC. So they're putting it on the market, which is like, $900,000, $1 million, $800,000 houses that they bought at 2, 3, 400. So that's what I think is happening in DC, but I don't know if that's similar or dissimilar from what you're experiencing.
I can also tell you that it's not just the people that have been dozed, but you have a lot of folks. Like a friend of mine is a lawyer. He's been a lawyer for the government for a very long time. And now he's like, my job isn't necessarily in jeopardy per se, but I don't want to be part of something where that could be something that happens. I need to make sure I go outside the box. Now I've dedicated my life to working for the government because that's what I chose to do. I wanted to kind of be a part of that public kind of situation.
It aligned for him.
Yeah. And now I gotta protect, my family and my income. So I've got to go private. I've got to start looking private. So, I think you've also got a lot of people in government that are just like, I don't trust where this is going, even though my job might be secure. So, that may be a big part of it too. But, we're never selling because we'll never get a home loan anywhere near the rate that we have. So we are going to live in this house until I die, for sure.
Bless it.
That's not funny. I don't want that to be anytime soon, but it's good to have clarity on your living situation. I envy that.
Plus, the other thing is I bought this house, and this is terrible, but I'm not terrible. I mean, it is what it is. I'm very fortunate that I was in the position I was in at the time. But when the housing market crashed in 2008, this house was on foreclosure and I bought it. I scooped it up. And I'm never selling this house. They'll have to pry it out of my cold, dead hands. So,
I don't think we're not possibly another housing bubble that will create an opportunity like that for another generation of people. Maybe it gets slow enough. Okay, that's a big one, Will. What are you going to do about that?
Take it in stride, man. We're just, I think we have a lot of plans about what we can and can't do, or just we have a lot of understanding of what we can and can't control in the situation. And we are blessed with a really, really great real estate agent. He's been really understanding with us. And he's also he's going through it too. And he's being very open with us about just how weird things are for him as well. Because one of the big differences from DC to Atlanta, there's like no housing stock here. Barely any houses are going on the market. There was a period of time where he was like, trust me, y'all, this week there's going to be some houses coming up this week. Trust me. And it just kept so
that's interesting.
Just sort of trying to, not to sound like too hokey, but just counting our blessings. We live in a wonderful home.
Yep.
While it doesn't have exactly every feature that we want, it is relatively new. It's relatively high functioning. It's had its own special issues and the joys of home ownership, but that comes with any house. And there are worse things than living in the neighborhood that we live in. Like, it's a fantastic place to be. It's not exactly where we want to be, but that's okay, right? So just coming to accept all of those things is just like, sometimes being an adult is boring, and you have to realize the most important thing you can do is just take a deep breath and realize that I'm okay. We're physically okay. We're safe here. Sure, there are things that I want, and it'll be all right. And there are things far worse than having like a 3% mortgage. So
yeah, that's the
yeah.
there it is in a nutshell. That's why we're going to be here until I die.
Yeah. And I think in it, though, there's stuff that we found to look forward to, which is there's always been these little projects that you never get to in your own home. And we've kind of decided that if we get to the worst case scenario where we're just not getting offers, we're just not getting anything, or the offers are terrible, whatever it is, and we decide we're just going to stick it out, you know what? We're going to do all those projects. We're going to do all those things that we've always wanted to do. You will see me in a normal size office, like those sorts of things, instead of sitting in a closet. So, yeah.
It's a looking closet.
It is.
Yeah.
I mean, I do quite enjoy my little cozy closet here, but there are days where it might be nice to not feel like I'm having like carbon dioxide poisoning by sitting. It's okay.
You're a heavy breather.
I'm a big guy. I move a lot of oxygen in and out.
That's fair. That's fair. You know.
All right, Jaimie. So what about you? I mean, I know we went through the Celtics stuff, but
yeah, we went through the Celtics stuff. I mean, there's a lot. There's so much going on with the current administration's stuff. The thing that's kind of stuck in my craw the last week or so is the sheer amount of money that the Trump family has made in the first 100 days. They've made close to $3 billion in the first 100 days of their administration. And I guess the rub is that they were willing to try to hang Joe Biden for the possibility that he might have gotten something off the top from the Ukraine situation, which would have amounted to like $11-12 million. And listen, wrong is wrong. And that's, if it is in fact what happened, Hunter Biden should whatever X, Y, and Z. But they're just doing it now blatantly in the face of everybody in public and daring them to do something about it. And nobody's doing anything about it. And I think that's the thing that bugs me the most. The crypto dinner, and I'm not going to get into crypto because that could be 7 episodes of a podcast to begin with. But
7, you mean a whole podcast?
I know, right? So the crypto thing is the one, we can talk about the airplane, we can talk about the golf courses, and Vietnam's offered to put a golf course in Vietnam for consideration. And, obviously the White House is for sale. That's a given. But the crypto thing is different because stablecoin becomes a monetary, it becomes an actual, it weakens the dollar and makes the global economy sketchy. And your president is being supported and courted by $2 billion worth of stablecoin purchases from the United Arab Emirates. And they're having dinner at the White House. And then Trump's first trip is to the United Arab Emirates. And now Trump coin is a stable coin and it's the basis for an entire economy. And, so it's complicated and it's crazy. And I think that's probably why most people kind of zone out when this kind of topic comes up. And to be honest, $3 billion is not a number that we can really conceptualize, right? But the level of corruption that is there is just astonishing to behold. And to have people just be okay with it blows my mind. And it's not just Republicans. It's not just, the Democrats just aren't doing anything about it, but
they're drafting strongly worded letters,
strongly worded emails.
Articles of things.
It's something that the Republicans learned a while ago, that they could exploit the loopholes in the law to their advantage. And the Democrats were like, well, we know those loopholes exist, but we don't want to touch them because it's not ethical. And the Republicans are like, oh, fuck it. That loophole exists. We're going to use it. And it's bothersome at a very, it's a huge level. It really is a huge level. The economy is suffering on very subtle ways, but it's degenerating, and it's degenerating quick. And we're seeing real-time effects, not just at the grocery store, not just, it's rough. So that bugs me. It really, really bothers me. And I don't know if there's ever going to be a reckoning for that, short of Luigi getting out of prison and making the rounds. But I didn't say that out loud.
That is Jaimie.
That was Jaimie talking.
I might be losing this house sooner than you think.
A thought that I've had regularly over the last 2 weeks is, there are a lot of documentaries about the licensing of his name over the years and how that was done. And I was like, the first 100 days especially, and what's been done. It's almost like a new version of like the presidency as a platform. And Jaimie, I don't know how much you know about like tech platforms, but like the monetizing of the name to feed into, I think it's fair to say, speculative digital assets that disproportionately benefit rich people already is probably something that I'm trying to make sense of on a regular basis, where I'm like, this is a good version of this hustle because the platform feeds itself on both sides, which you need. You got to have both sides of the economy there. And the gold and the education and some other hustles was always grifting, but the grifting disguised as patriotism has been, it's concerning. It really is.
You see him literally eliminate the crypto oversight ethics committee. He just gets rid of it. And then all of a sudden he's a stablecoin guy. So what a shocker that is. That's so surprising. And again, who's doing anything about it? You know, I mean, no one's doing anything about it.
An NBA Top Shot collector, which is a crypto-powered digital trading card for the NBA. I would like someone to come in and make sure this is well regulated. Like my 50,000 points LeBron moment that's labeled as rare and worth $790. I really am concerned about what's going to happen to the value of this in this new crypto world. And I was planning on the regulation to make sure over time that whatever I invested within the blockchain would pan out. And I'm feeling less certain about that. Is probably what I would say in a nice way.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's, that speaks to what you're saying about the rich getting rich exponentially. If you look at what happened with his meme coin to begin with, the heavy mega investors made money while everybody else just took a bloodbath in it. So it's, the scale is like, I mean, it's astonishing. Yeah. It really is astonishing. And let's be honest, the people that are taking the bloodbath are the ones that were out in the polls voting for Donald Trump. Because I guess they think he's cool. It certainly isn't because of any ideology that they can agree with. It's just because, he's cool and different. And I don't know any better. It has to be that's the only thing that I can, and the Democrats are idiots. But other than that, it's the only thing that I can kind of chalk that up to. You know what I mean? It just, it boggles my mind. If it's a Christian thing, he's certainly not Christian in any way, shape, or form. I mean, he's having sex with porn stars and paying for it. How is that ever in line with your Christian values? That just blows my mind. He's not a good businessman. He bankrupted a casino and a university. So that's not it. It can't be because of his good business decisions. I mean, it just is.
There's no explaining it. There's no explaining it.
Oh, it just is. It blows my mind. It really, I can't. I cannot.
It is. It's crypto chaos.
Yeah,
it is.
So that's a big worry for me. Obviously the immigration stuff is always a worry. I mean, they're trying to arrest senators. They're doing everything they can to line themselves up with fascism as it jumps out at the page. I mean, you when you see the SS brown shirts walking around with masks on and hiding their badge numbers and their identity placards, and just taking women and children and men off the streets without any kind of due process. I mean, it's terrifying. It's terrifying. And that's just the tip of the iceberg. That's just the tip of the iceberg. Obama and Biden deported zillions of people far more efficiently than the Trump administration is doing. And they followed the law, the Constitution. So you can't tell me that you're doing the right thing because you're slower. You're not doing it as efficiently, and you're violating the actual Constitution. So, you're not doing anything that you said you were going to do. So people are fucking around and finding out all right now, and I hate it. I hate it for us. I hate it for them. It's tough. It's rough out there right now.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
It's a good one. It's hard to not take that person.
Yeah.
Well, I'm sad now.
You're welcome.
You want to bring you down with one more story?
Yep.
Yeah, we can't go further.
Wait.
That's good. Yeah, let's
One more.
fuck me up. Do it.
I went Googling for the date that Puff Daddy and the Family World Tour came to Richmond, Virginia. And I found that it was on November 24th, 1997. And that was the date that my mother took me and my sister to see Puff Daddy and the Family Tour at the Richmond Coliseum. I think it was maybe called the Mosque. It was something it was something real racist, I think. Or maybe it was the Coliseum. Who knows? A lot of racist names around Richmond growing up. I was a tallish, fattish 13-year-old, if memory serves. And it was my sister's winter break from her first year of college, which is why all three of us were able to go together. It was the first time I smelled weed up close. Because the people in the audience. It was the first time I saw an adult man's junk.
Oh.
Because the guy who opened up with Busta Rhymes, his pants fell down while jumping up and down on the stage.
That'll happen.
My mother was like, "Is that his dick?" And I was like, "It's definitely that. It's definitely that."
Is that big?
And I think those tickets probably cost less than $70. If I had to guess for three of us, if I know her well enough, I don't think it probably costs more than $70 per ticket. It was, Usher Raymond was supposed to be the opener. He did not perform and come out that night. He was said to be sick. And he was my favorite of that era, of course, because he had just released an album. I say all of this to you to say that happened in 97. It was probably the best single moment of my life. And so the last 14 days, day 1, day 2, day 3, day 10 is when I just started to close my eyes each morning and pray for what little of my childhood was going to be ripped away from me every single day of this trial. I have gotten a new tiny shred of information that I'm like, oh, they were probably being forced into whatever entertainment model that I was enjoying and consuming. And that cover that I put up on my walls for every single Black magazine from 97 through 2005. And I'm sorry, the thousands of dollars my family spent on Sean John as church wear and work wear, which is probably where most of the money went, honestly, never into the music because there was never enough of it. But the fashion brand, Sean John was a meaningful thing that happened. Got fucked up this week. And I think it all makes so much more sense how he was able to function in the world, because it always seemed too good to be true. Like, to me, from the outside and from everyone that watched it happen in real time, from the 90s, the really, really intense hip hop era where it was gangster rap into what he evolved it into in the wake of killing two birds. So, supposedly, allegedly, being involved in the killing of the two
Not
big
confirmed.
stars of gangster rap, and then redefining a more dance heavy, pop friendly rap era. It all makes so much more sense. Also, Smokey Robinson having multiple federal assault charges makes so much sense. I just always thought these people were like amazing, but also I wouldn't be in a room with them. I would never be left alone with those people. And my mother held my hand the entire concert. And I was 13 and like this height now. I was like 5'10", and she held my hand throughout the entire thing. Because why would you leave your child in any type of circumstance?
She knew.
Well, it was obvious, which is why I'm watching every single day of this case and like consuming it everywhere. I'm like, hey, you wouldn't put your child near this. Where are we?
So that begs the question. There's a couple of questions that come from that. You know, one is a very kind of esoteric kind of thought experiment. We all have these experiences, especially as kids, and you know yours in the 90s and you know mine certainly in the 70s and 80s. Growing up, where I was consuming all this stuff and enjoying all of this stuff thoroughly, and then I look back at it, and I go, "Oh my God, that is so problematic. That is so problematic." And I have these core memories, and my personality is shaped by these things. You know, I mean, just off the top of my head, the exploitation of Carrie Fisher for Star Wars, and Star Wars was such a big, giant thing for me that, you know, I mean, I was just talking about it with my mom.
Dude, it's still a thing. And the name of that character is Slave Leia.
Yeah. You know, I mean, it's so how do you, I guess my point is this, you know, I have these core memories as a child, and obviously, Steph, you just shared yours. How do we even then go back and try to kind of reconcile that with today? Or do we just say, I was 6, I saw a drive-in double feature of Close Encounters of the Third Kind and Star Wars, and that is what I just was, you know, fueled by. And, you know, or do we go back and say, you know, how do I repair this? Is that even necessary? Or do we say, how do we make something that's impactful without doing those things, X, Y, and Z? I open the floor for that.
I have tried many different tactics of this. So I watched Never Leaving Neverland.
Oh,
Leaving
Neverland. We're doing that tonight.
Well, we shouldn't, but
we're about to.
That was one of the first instances where I was like, oh, it's a second instance. I'll tell you the first in a second. One of the second instances where I was like, I'm ready to make a break with the artist. I can't hold on to the music and the art anymore. And this is going to be the hardest break of my life because the music is so irrefutable.
Right.
But like, I can't do PYT anymore. I just can't. And if I take victims at their word when they're telling me something, and seeing what I saw with my own eyes as a child in the 90s and what not my parents, but generations ahead of me ignored about Michael Jackson, I would like to do something different. So I'm trying to make a break where, like, on streaming, I say suggest less or suggest no. I have removed him from my entire media diet when it's possible. We removed him from our catalog at home. If we are out, we will walk slower out the door because if the song's on, you might as well hear it because we can't control it. But that's how desperate we are for it because we took it out. Same thing with R. Kelly. And I've done that before already. It's like, Chocolate Factory is still one of the greatest albums that ever existed. It has to be removed. I will try to make the break with the artist directly, not as a way to fix their problems, but to try to just do something different than the generation before me, because it doesn't feel like enough people tried to like make some type of separation. But I knew this one was going to be really hard because he's not on every song. He just produced every song that I loved and remade R&B using 70s flips. So why wouldn't I love that by nature? So like, it's hard to remove him, but the beauty of Sean Combs, he was horrible to his artist. And there's so much history of everyone being like, oh, he was terrible to me. He abused me. He never paid me. It was awful. He wanted to be the artist as much as we did on Bad Boy. It never worked out. So that's another reason that like, you could kind of see a lot of this coming because a lot of people told you he was a horrendous human being. So that is how I try to deal with it now. But like Chris Brown has been in jail since we recorded our first episode of this podcast. And then he got out and like a couple days ago. But like he was in jail for many weeks. Or a couple of weeks. And it's because he beat a man with a bottle supposedly in 2023. And I was like, oh, do I have to remove 24 songs immediately? I'm going to listen to them. I'm going to try to listen to them less right now until I know more. But he is one of those that's on the list where you just have to keep watching. You're like, I want to keep you here, buddy. But
does that affect how you look at your memories? And you're kind of, like I said, you had that moment with your mom at a concert, and there's an awful lot of sweet stuff.
No, because everyone older than me was a horrible judge of character. My mother thought that Sean Combs was amazing. And I was like, actually, that tracks because you didn't. You always thought someone was amazing who was actually like a bit of a dick, but also a Lothario. Like, people have bad judgment in general. And so I think I'm always measuring that. And people's judgment of other people, this comes from being gay young. Like, who my mom thought was awesome was never aligned necessarily with who I thought was awesome because we had to sort out whether they were homophobic or not first. She'd be like, they're great. And I'm like, let's see. Let's give it an hour. And then I'll tell you. Give me. And then she'd be like, ooh. She's like, why do you say it like that? I'm like, I told you. I can feel it. Like, that's what our relationship came. But that's also the way I would sort out people for my family, where I'm like, no, I think they're like, I think they have a thing. Let's just wait and see.
Yep.
It's so hard to tell, though. I think, too, like, with your mom and everything, it's like, who in the 90s was sitting there saying, yeah, man, I don't think Puff Daddy's a good person. Like, there were not many.
A lot of people in Black media were like,
yeah,
something's
I guess
here.
Okay, so bad example.
But
I think in general, though, it's like there's so much media out there, and there's so much curated media about stars from stars. I guess what I'm trying to say is, like, I almost don't want to like blame your mom too much, because it's like, how do you filter between the good and the bad stories, knowing what's real and what's not real? Because it's like, sometimes the not real stuff is fake PR, and sometimes the real stuff is fake PR. It's like, how do you actually filter it out? And like, it's even so much harder now.
Yeah,
there's so much information out there coming from so many different sources, and you can't trust any of it. Is like, especially with all the generative AI stuff, is going to become increasingly hard to know what's real and what's not, and like what's a marketing campaign, like some crazy stealth marketing campaign where like everything is pink and green for a month and it's all just crazy stealth guerrilla marketing for Wicked, and I was here for it and it was fine, but like, how does it, anyway, sorry, I feel like
I've got three points to make. One, props for dropping a Lothario in this conversation. That's a fantastic, well done. Two, to speak to that, Will, I don't think it's necessarily, it's kind of a fine line, right? The music industry, the film industry, the entertainment industry, church, religious organizations, they are set up for abuses of power to exist so that the powerful can kind of do those things. And everybody that's around them knows that Sean was a shitty human being and Harvey Weinstein is a shitty human being. And priests are touching boys and girls and doing and all of that exists in these pockets. So people do know and they allow that to exist. So that has to be changed, right? That's the culture that needs to be changed. So that's where things like the Me Too movement come out and all these big power movements, and the pendulum swings one way and then everybody gets pissed off because now you can't say certain words because they're offensive. And, and then the pendulum swings all the way back to the other side and we get a rapist in the White House. So, you get these massive pendulum swings. That brings me to the next point, which is, that's what the government is for. There is no force on earth that can control corporations and Wall Street. No force on earth, except for the government. Corporations and capitalism is its own thing, and the only thing that can stand up to that is the government. So when the government can step in and say, no, Sean, you can't treat people like this. We need to prosecute you and put you away for a very long time. Let's expose all of this. No, Harvey, you cannot invite people to your bedroom in your hotel and touch your really horrifying potted meat penis to give them a roll. You can't do. No, Catholic Church, you cannot cover this up. This can't be a thing. So it really all comes down to, and I don't want to shirk personal responsibility, because I do agree with what Steph said in that you do have to do a little bit of research. Oh, he was using these words, or they were saying this, and that's kind of a crappy thing to do. And so I'm not going to give money to this. I'm not going to give my monetary support. But there is a point where Coca-Cola is never going to stop using plastic unless the government says you got to pay to clean up fucking plastic. People at Walmart are not going to go, I'm going to spend an extra $1 a bottle of Coke to buy the glass Cokes. They're going to buy the cheapest Coke they can get. But the government can say, hey, you have a responsibility. You're using horrible ingredients. You've got to clean them up.
Yeah. What you said there does make me want to take back, I think, a little bit of what I said, where it's like, it's too hard to filter out all the information and all those things. It is very hard in that. And your example of Harvey Weinstein gave me this thought where you said this too, Steph, in what you were saying, is that it's almost like the little voices that you hear, the side voices, the voices that go against the overarching PR image. Those are the ones that you should probably pay the most attention to when you're in a big situation. Because with Harvey Weinstein, it was Courtney Love, right? It was like the MTV Music Awards or something like that, or like the VMAs, where she's like,
often Courtney Love, but
yeah. And she's had this famous interview where someone was like, hey, do you have any advice for like young stars out there? And she was like, yeah, never go to Harvey Weinstein's hotel room alone with him. It's like, anytime you hear something like that in the context of a big name, it's like, give that comment a little bit more space. Let that comment simmer. Don't take it off the stove. Let it heat up.
Yep.
Let's hear what it's really got to say, and maybe think about it the next time you go to engage. The context of who she was when she said it.
Yeah.
This was after she had done like her biggest movie.
Yep.
I think it was like a really big moment for her acting wise, where she had accomplished something and was like,
because that was right after The People versus Larry Flint, right?
I think it was. It was very close to it, if not right after. So they were listening to her again, which, waned over the 90s. Yeah.
I think Steph, you said something about, what's his name? little white kid. This is world famous now, Canadian, not
Bieber.
Justin Bieber. His song basically laid out what was going on with Diddy and people were just like, this is a great song. Is it?
That is what happened. Yeah.
I mean,
So funny. His comment, his comment about it recently was like, "Oh, I knew the victims," and I was like, "Ooh."
yeah.
It was not. Everyone was like, "How's that? That doesn't."
Yeah.
Let's not finish that logical conclusion whatsoever, because no one wants to right now. So we're just going to leave it. But we then focused on why he needed to sell his masters in 2022. Like, people were like, is he broke? And I was like, yeah, good pivot. Talk about the money, because they want to get away off of this subject.
Yep.
I know that propaganda also played a huge role in Puff Daddy as a child. Like, the VMAs, when Sting comes out and sings with you in 97 for I'll Be Missing You, like in the white suit, that was a moment that mattered to people. And then I feel so bad forever for the class of 1997. They heard that song every single day of their lives in 97. Having siblings and cousins that graduated in 97, and like, anyone died in 97, for which there were people who died. Yeah. Oh my God, I'll Be Missing You was just hammered. And I think that was probably like, propaganda is probably the wrong word, but MTV and Viacom were pretty effective in 97 about what they.
Yeah. Well, it's back to the capitalism thing. Like, Viacom and MTV and them, like, they don't care. They're not even really connected with all that. They're just like, we're just here to make money, man. We're just going to use it, abuse it, whatever we got to do.
I mean, they do own the rights to that video, and they could take it down at any time, and yet it's everywhere always.
So that begs another question. What is the right move? Do we take it down, or do we leave it up so that, hey, look, this is what this time period offered, and this is what it became. Let's take a moment and learn from it. Or
do we keep it up and not monetize on it? Because that's the perfect solution.
Yeah, right. That's a question.
And that's not what's going to happen. That's the problem.
Yeah. Fair enough.
That is my answer.
Fair
like,
point.
It should be distributed. It should be on the Internet Archives. It can even be on YouTube amongst the search results. But like, does MTV?
It's like it belongs in a museum,
right?
Not in town square.
Right.
It's a piece of history. It's a piece of history now. Yeah, like, it's a piece of history. We should be able to go somewhere, read about it, reflect upon what happened, but maybe it shouldn't be on the side of Stone Mountain.
Right. Have you seen Stone Mountain, Steph?
I have seen Stone Mountain.
It shocks me that it's still.
I'm the youngest person I know in my family, so I usually see most references.
People come from, and I'm from up north, so they don't really understand just what I mean, it's still wild to me, but
So people in Richmond talk about it with love because of the Confederate Memorial. Yep. It's like, we're the capital of the Confederacy.
Yep.
Stone Mountain is a pretty good memorial that would make us jealous if we weren't the capital of the Confederacy. Is how I can best describe Stone Mountain in my.
Yeah, for anyone who doesn't know and isn't willing to look it up, there are 3 Confederate generals carved into the side of Stone Mountain. And if you don't know what Stone Mountain is, it's the world's largest limestone. Granite.
Please, granite.
I'm not from Georgia, so don't take it out on me. Granite outcrop. It's a giant mound of granite, and on the side of it are they're like 100 feet tall. I don't know. That might be an exaggeration. They're at least.
No, I think they're 100 feet tall.
You can see them from the highway. I mean, it is huge. Huge Confederate generals.
A giant, if I'm not mistaken, the Klan used to hang people up at the top of the mountain.
Yeah.
And it's now, and you know what? I understand all that. I don't want to get rid of that history. I want that history to be visible for everybody to see and learn from and understand. This is what happened. But do we need to do our laser drone show on the face of General Lee?
We don't.
Possibly not.
I mean, great drone show. It's fantastic. It's really cool. And the whole time you're looking at, Stonewall Jackson and who's on the, I think it is Stonewall Jackson and
It's Lee Jackson and
Yeah.
I can't remember
somebody else.
I don't
But,
know.
It's guys. It's the president of the Confederacy.
Oh, is it Jefferson?
Is it Jefferson? Yeah.
It's all JD up there? Dang, I didn't know.
I hate you too so much.
This is bad.
You
This is bad.
offend my Civil War history sensibilities. Damn, you too. I can't.
Yeah.
It's one of those subjects that I don't know how much I'm supposed to know about, because if you know too much and you can
Right.
just rattle it off, people stare at you like, what the fuck's up with this white guy?
No, you're right.
Why does he know so much?
Exactly. It's me who should know more than you about Stone Mountain.
We should know equal amounts.
Well, have you ever noticed that everyone dies at Stone Mountain, and it's always where GBI or like every investigative story starts?
Yeah.
It's
It's
bad.
huge. Stone Mountain Park is massive. It's a big
Oh, yeah.
park. It's a big, there's
I
lakes.
think I gotta go, but I don't gotta go. But I'll probably go.
They have a hell of
Good
a
hiking.
house
It's
down.
pretty good hikes, honestly.
That's a fact. And like I said, they're pretty solid when they decorate the little thing for Halloween. I mean, it's
Yeah, no, it's
Really?
very
really, really pretty cool.
jealousy
Spooky
inducing.
General Lee.
Well,
Yeah.
and I think the Highland Games are there every year too. I mean, how could you not like the Highland Games?
Black events.
I don't know, maybe if you're hardcore English.
Yeah, but
Oh.
I mean, I'm hardcore Scottish, so that's my job.
Your job.
That's where I got my kilt. Was at the Highland Games.
That's
Did we
fun.
get to kill the English?
Well, I think we've done a lot on memories. My post that I made this week was about making a podcast database and why I did it, which was essentially because I was afraid that no one would catalog who was making podcasts and they wouldn't be archived or remembered, because it didn't seem like anyone really gave a shit about them in 2015 and 16 when I thought they were hitting their new pinnacle.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought about Sean Combs a lot while thinking about the podcast database, but also everyone that I've ever loved ever, and how well categorized they were or archived in some way, mainly because of YouTube, but also just like Library of Congress and literature that matters and archives over the years. And I just felt like audio and podcasts themselves weren't being appreciated as a format type that could impact people like books or film or TV. So there are a lot of people that probably shouldn't be making money or shouldn't be in the space any longer, but contributed quite a bit. And I think even with them, it's like, I just want to know who did it and why they did it and what was their skill set during that era of them doing it. Because I know they probably were an abuser, but they were also a hell of a sound designer. And I just want to mark that thing that they did in history too. It's like this thing of like, let me catalog it and then I'll decide how I separate myself from the art and the artist. It's like, until I know who did it, I can't decide how I'm going to work with it. And again, even over Sean Combs, I don't know, you guys, there was in the early 2000s, there was this girl group called Danity Kane, and they like became a very big deal because they were making the band.
Yeah.
All of these girls were born in the early 80s, and they were around my age, and they were like, this man is horrible. Like, they were internet age and grew up along the way. One of them dated a Kennedy. No, a Trump, not a Kennedy. Just as similar.
Cool.
But they always say they're like, this guy's horrible. And I was like, okay, these girls are my age. This isn't a 90s story. This is like them saying he is a horrible person right now. And I always clocked that. So there were people who just didn't matter, who always said that who someone was. It's just whether you listen to them or not was like my takeaway from the Diddy universe and from podcasting in general. Let me just catalog it and then I'll decide whether you're any good or not. And a lot of people seem to have commented to that and felt like sometimes it's worth archiving and letting people know, get credit for what they did. Even someone like, I don't know, I really like Louis C.K. for instance. Like his art, I enjoyed quite a bit, and it was a very hard one, and maybe one I still don't separate that well. He would be a name where I'm like, yeah, I am going to block him from all things. But also he produced some of the things that I liked the most on the planet and like some of the best stories ever. And I think I try to ease that by watching like extra Steven Universe or like people who I know are seemingly above board in their content a little bit extra just to even it out. But otherwise, there's no good answer to it. Just to close out memory and content and shit.
It's hard.
I always come back to it, Will.
Impossible.
I always come back to it, dude. It's constant. I mean, for us in particular in this country, we rely on the media that we consume. I rely might be too strong, but we are definitely informed by the media that we consume, and I think that impacts everybody because you can not be on the hip hop game, but you could be on in the movie world. Like I love hip hop, but I'm not in the know with hip hop. So all this Sean stuff is new for me, or relatively new, but I had the same kind of experience coming from the entertainment kind of world, and how just like in the music industry, the entertainment world chews you up and spits you out and don't let anybody tell you otherwise. It is a giant corporation that is there to make money. That's what they do. And that's why these norms are established and why people like Harvey Weinstein get away with what they get away with. And they're not alone. This has been going on for a very, very long time. I mean, there are stories of Judy Garland and, Shirley Temple and, from time immemorial of people being abused and taken advantage of. So I mean, it is constant. So the reality is what do we do about it? I mean, I don't really know. I mean, you try to, Louis C.K. is a great example. Comedians. I mean, 20 years ago, shit was funny. That's not funny anymore. And do we beat up Kevin Hart for it? Do we beat up Bill Burr for it? Do we beat up these guys that, I mean, I don't know. I don't think so. I mean, I'll go back and listen to some of that old stuff and it's pretty funny. I mean, some of the shit that Richard Pryor said was pretty off the chain, but he was funny as hell. Eddie Murphy he was killing it. He's the funniest comedian I've ever heard.
Yeah.
And you couldn't do any of that shit.
I remember figuring out why people didn't find Richard Pryor funny as a child, and it was because they had drug abuse in their family.
Yeah, right.
But it hooked me. I was like, what?
Right.
Here, do you not? And I was like, oh, his father OD'd. I'm like, oh my God, I had no idea that's what I was dealing with.
Yep.
Overwhelmingly, that happened as a child with some major Red Fox. There's another one.
Oh yeah, Red Fox.
I had no notes for Red Fox, but
yeah. Well, and I mean, everything. It comes back to again, people have a hard time separating what privilege means from being offended, right? I mean, everybody gets offended when you say, well, you say that from a position of privilege, right? And they go, well, I'm not privileged. Okay, well, I was privileged until I realized, until my daughter came out to me, it never really kind of sat in with me. Eddie Murphy's incredibly homophobic. It ain't funny.
Yes. That is a great example of a child where I was like,
I It doesn't affect me, so I have the privilege of not having to think about it. I just didn't have to think about it, right? So it kind of comes back to that too. I mean, it all kind of factors into it.
Totally. What a great example.
It's you.
This was good.
Yeah.
So what are you guys looking forward to?
Yes. Bring it up, Will. I love it. I love you bringing it up. Yes, sir. Thank you. All right, I'll start. We're going on a beach vacation in 2 weeks. I'm looking forward to that. We've got it's a week that we go down and spend with Katie's family at Cape San Blas, which for those of you that don't know is right off of 30A. It's about 30 minutes south of Panama City Beach, and there is nobody there. Nobody there. It is.
Well, there will be now.
No,
kind of place.
You go north on 30A and you get to Panama City Beach, and then you go over towards Destin, and it's crazy. At Rosemary Beach, there's 1 million people there. But Cape San Blas is this little sleepy kind of cape, and it is white sands. It's on the Gulf, and it is empty. So her family's been going down there for years and years and years and years. So we'll have 40 people in like 2 or 3 houses. And
okay. Thank God.
God. I mean, it's still a little crazy in the house that we're renting because it's 3 or 4 families. Her brother is coming into town from San Diego, and we're bringing Pickle.
And you're excited about this?
Yeah, I am. It's a lot of fun. We do have a lot of fun with it. So, and Pickle, for those folks that don't know, Pickle is our 200-pound English Mastiff, and he is all of 200 pounds. So we're gonna have a good time with that. I'm looking forward to it.
That's good.
How about you?
Yeah, what about you, Steph? What are you looking forward to?
So
The
by the
NBA?
time you guys are hearing this or the next one, I shall have seen Doechii live.
Ooh.
Oh.
Or I think she's doing the closing night of Pride in DC. I'm old now, so I got tickets because I'm not standing out with a gin pop. And I'm sure that's still gin pop, but I like a little more exclusive gin pop.
Yeah.
And it's June, so like WNBA. I'm very excited for Paige to come back from concussion protocol. She's going to be out for 2 or more games due to a concussion after her first win. So sad. Rest in peace, my angel. You'll be back soon. And what else in June? Oh, we got time, but Kendrick and SZA are coming to town. And
we really need to dive into some of this WNBA stuff with you because I'm really anxious to kind of get your opinion. I don't know enough about the league and how it's set up right now to really.
Boy.
Yeah,
Okay.
but because the average consumer is getting Angel Reese, Caitlin Clark, and that's about it, right? That's all we get.
Meanwhile,
Right.
Nafisa Collier, Asia Wilson are actually battling it out for MVP immediately right now. Like these kids are doing one thing, and then there are adult women who are playing to win on another space. And there are other teams too that are contenders and very, very meaningful, especially the Liberty. Like they're great again, and that is problematic. Although I have so much Sabrina Ionesco gear, she better win. Like I need financially, I need her to do well this season because I got shoes, I got shirts, and it's all got S. So it's fine. But I know. But I wanted to win.
I definitely want to dive into that.
Let's dive into it, and let's then figure out why there's no G League for the WNBA and why that means that there aren't enough roster spots for very, very, very good players. We'll get into it though.
Yep, for sure.
Yeah.
Young William,
what are you excited about, sir?
So I'm like the most boring adult stuff possible, I think, is the things that I'm really excited about. So coming back from vacation, then Memorial Day, then last week was super hectic and crazy getting our house ready to like go on the market. So even though there will be some amount of chaos in the following weeks around showings and having to vacate the house and go sit in the park with my dogs for 30 minutes, which is, again, worse things have happened. I'm actually really excited to just kind of getting back to a little bit of a normal schedule this week, getting really focused on, like personal things and work things and personal work things that I've been wanting to like really, really dive into that I've only been scratching the surface on. So honestly looking forward to that kind of creativity. And then I'm also greatly looking forward to living in our fully staged house where man, all the surfaces are clear and clean and everything is put away constantly. And it's just,
this is your dream.
It is my dream. And it is so nice. Not that we live like slobs normally. Like,
well, you can't. You live with you, so you can't live.
Yeah. But it's just like, man, it's just nice. And it feels so good. So good. Our house looks so good. Anyway, it makes me kind of sad to be selling it.
So when you guys come over and have dinner at our place, do you go, oh, this is how the other half lives?
No.
They do that about every.
There are so many things in life that I judge people so hard on. And I will fully, Steph knows.
Yeah.
Oddly enough, the level of cleanliness of a person's house is usually not one of them, unless if you're kind of like hoarder level and like things are just like if there's like a smell when you walk in. But even then, once you're at that level, I usually want to know what's going on. Are you okay? What can I do to help you out and get you to a cleaner place, to a more organized place? Other than that, I usually just try not to be oppressive about it because I know the way that I like to have things organized is a bit much. I mean, I had to stop organizing my shirts by color because I knew that was going too far. But then I saw David Beckham's closet and I was like, I don't know, that's kind of nice. This looks really nice. I might like to also do that.
No way.
So yeah, I know it's my own personal struggle. So I think it's something that I kind of like I don't want to be weird about with other people. And I'm certainly not going to walk into someone's house. I mean, what's worse too about like, I always try to be a very good host and I try to be a very good guest when I go places. And there is no worse thing that a guest can do than walk into someone's house and immediately complain about like, oh, why is it so dirty? Like, why do you have things here? Like, I can't. No.
That's rough. I have to come. We came to a certain level of kind of acceptance of our life as it was, just because with the amount of children in the home, it just is not. It's not possible. And then we got this ridiculous animal, and it just became. I mean, it's just untenable, dude. I mean, it just is. Guy he's crazy messy, but he's the sweetest thing in the whole wide world. But
how old is he?
He's 18 months old, and he's 200 pounds. And when I say 200 pounds, he is every bit of 200 pounds. It is like having Shaquille O'Neal underneath your feet while you're trying to cook. He's huge. He is absolutely enormous.
He's bigger than some of the people who live in your house. I mean, by a lot.
All of the people,
all of them, yeah.
I didn't want to be specific.
I'm the only one that's big enough to really kind of handle him. But fortunately, we put him through some training, so he's a really well-behaved beastie.
That's wonderful.
And just to be clear, Jaimie, the kids did name him, right? They picked the name.
Correct. Violet.
Okay. And she has not seen The Sandlot, correct?
Correct. She has not.
Okay. So I bring this up because Paige and I are watching The Sandlot like last week. It's Memorial Day. They have it on for Memorial Day. I don't know what the connection is, but it's fine. We're watching it and they get to the part where they've done all the things. Also, if you haven't seen this Sandlot, watch out. Spoiler alert.
Spoiler alert.
They get to the part where they've done all the contraptions, they've done all the engineering, trying to get the baseball out of the backyard. They're trying to get it away from the beast. And finally, Benny Rodriguez is standing there and he says, guys, there's only one thing I have to do. And they're like, what do you mean? What do you like? And he's like, I have to pickle the beast. And I shot out of my chair and grabbed my phone immediately. And I was like, Jaimie, did you know this? It's the perfect name for Pickle because that dog is a mush mastiff, gigantic, everything. You can ask Paige, I lost my mind for a solid 10 minutes.
It's one of those happy moments where you go, oh, that makes so much sense.
Yeah.
It's really one of the really cool coincidences that just cosmically isn't really a coincidence. Your 6-year-old, who was 5 at the time, who won't watch Frozen because it's too intense, has certainly not seen The Sandlot, right?
Well,
she names the dog
tense in a different way. I get it.
Yeah.
She can't, so that's a whole
further.
Yeah. That's a whole
Smalls, You're Killing Me is the greatest.
You're killing me, Smalls. I have that. I almost wore it tonight, actually.
Yeah. I think I have one too.
He took the great Hambino took an at-bat at the Savannah Bananas the other day.
He did. Did he knock it out? He called a shot, right?
Yeah, he called a shot. Yeah, bad. I just saw that he did it. I'm at the point now, my wife sends me 500 reels. When I go to bed tonight on my Instagram, I will have 500 reels I have to go through. I have to clock in to actually look at the reels my wife has sent me.
But
and if I don't, I'm a bad husband.
You laugh?
Yeah.
Oh, no, I laugh constantly. It's crazy. It really is.
And you make it sound like a burden.
No, I'll be lying next to her. She's literally in the same bed. She's like, what are you laughing at? The thing you just sent me.
Paige and I will have intentional Instagram nights where we sit on the couch and mirror our phone onto the TV.
Oh,
that's crazy.
And do Instagram.
That's awesome.
It makes me feel so old and so happy.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's it. We just bought a TV where I'm going to be able to do that from the bedroom. And it's like the thing I'm most excited to show her. Like, not tonight, but like when we really have the time, mirroring our screen, but still being in bed and going through the TikToks.
It makes me want to mount a vertical TV so we can see them bigger.
Yep. Which
is such a waste.
Buy an old menu board.
Yes.
Just buy an old menu board and just set it up. There's no way you can't do that. I mean, there's definitely a way you can do that for sure.
Yeah.
For sure. And this, ladies and gentlemen, is why Hollywood is dead.
Actually, yeah.
Because this is what people want to do with their time.
Sadly. And fully.
Well, that wraps up tonight's second episode. And the most important thing that y'all can do for us is to rate and review on your favorite podcast application, as it were. I believe that's the correct word. Head on over to our YouTube channel and check that out. Follow us on TikTok. But really, honestly, the way we get help and benefit is for you literally to drop a rating and a review for us. Tell all your friends. And if you have any questions or you want to talk, you want to throw a topic our way, just shoot us a little a note on one of our videos and we'll be sure to kind of chat about it for sure. Y'all, it was awesome.